Coming to you from the great state of Wisconsin, this is a CS27 Studios production. You're listening to the Binary Brothers Podcast featuring Ryan and Clay. It's time now to open your ears and prepare your mind because life's too short to be constrained in black and white. So without further ado, here are your hosts, Ryan and Clay.
Hello, welcome to Binary Brothers Podcast. This is episode 15, big 1-5. I think that's...
1-5.
What kind of anniversary is that?
I don't know.
Is it like the diamond anniversary? What is
Did you know that there's like traditional anniversaries and like new anniversaries?
That
like
sounds like a marketing scheme to me.
I'm pretty sure it is, but it's like let's see,
like a Hallmark marketing scheme.
Yeah, because I was like looking up anniversary gifts for my wife, and like, oh, here's anniversaries by year. Because I just thought like, jokingly, I would get her something that was along the traditional lines. I found out that there's like the old traditional ones, and then there's like a new list apparently. I don't know. It was different. Like they're different things. Like paper cut. What do we got? 15. It's crystal.
Crystal. Ooh, this is the crystal episode here.
Crystal.
Yeah.
Nice.
If you weren't aware already, I am Clay, and my co-host is Ryan.
That's me. That's me. I'm over here looking up anniversaries.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So here we are, ready to do our Crystal Anniversary episode.
Oh, yeah.
And what are we going to do it on? What's the topic?
We're going to talk about, like, monopolies.
Oh.
And just, like, companies. There's been a couple major mergers announced recently. So we're kind of going to touch on those and the idea just of companies controlling a lot of things all in one go, so maybe too much power in one area.
We'll get into that later, though.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. First, we gotta do some important things first.
We gotta warm the people up.
Oh yeah. Can't just go straight into something big. We gotta make sure we stretch, get our muscles loosened.
Right.
Yeah,
the most important thing
pulling things here
is to stretch.
Yes.
Before and after athletic activity or podcasts.
Mostly podcasts, though.
Mostly podcasts.
Yeah.
I spent an entire semester at Ripon stretching, basically, for an elective and got credit for it. I both paid for and got credit for stretching. It was a whole thing.
Well, I bet you were pretty flexible after that.
I was pretty flexible. I was flexible. I was loose. I was relaxed. I was ready. It was football season, so it was convenient.
Yeah.
You can't get enough stretching in.
No, you cannot.
You can't be too loose.
No, no such thing.
But yeah, let's get the people into our heads. Let's get them into our minds. Let's hear kind of what's going on. Let's start with jams. What's your current jam? What are you listening to these days?
Jams. I was actually kind of talking to some people. I was trying to get them into Jimmy Eat World. They have a new song out recently. I have no idea.
I think so, because I listened to like an alternative, a mix thing, and they've been on it. So I think they've got a new song.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, I mean, like I was trying to get them into it, but they kept saying they just didn't really like them all that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just told them to just try and keep listening to them.
Just give it a go. You can't judge it by maybe the first couple things you hear.
It just takes some time.
I'm really interested in whether or not they have a new song out.
Just keep searching.
I'm searching.
It just takes some time.
I'm unsure.
Honestly, that was the whole thing about that. I didn't actually. That was a false story. Fake news.
Fake news?
I just wanted to tell that joke.
Quite appropriate at this point.
Yeah.
El Presidente.
I haven't. He was in town. That's what he's getting at. No, I haven't really been listening to Jimmy Eat World. I just wanted to throw that punchline out of it just takes some time.
Just take some time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what have I been listening to? Let's see. I actually have been. I've been listening to a lot of Just some oldies, like classics, you know? Just
What kind
like
of classics?
just a variety of the
Elvis
types
Presley?
of like the types of songs that you'd hear in those like Viagra commercials, you know, those road trip old men songs.
The
You know what I'm
thing is
saying?
I can hear exactly what you're talking about, and I'm sure the listeners can too.
Yeah.
We know. The
So-
second you said Viagra commercial,
Those old school classic dad rock jams. That's basically what I've been listening to recently.
that's solid.
Yeah.
You can't really go wrong.
Yeah. I have no regrets about it. I
No
dig
regrets?
it, actually, you know? I'm starting to get to that age. I'm almost there, Ryan.
You're almost there. You're just not all that interested in the newer music. You know,
I don't really like the newer dad jams, you know?
you already know what you like.
Yeah.
So, you know, why throw some stuff in the mix that could just be discomfort for your ears,
Just
right?
the tried and true stuff, you know?
I don't necessarily want to listen to whatever's going on today.
Yeah. I just want to listen to some Journey, you know, and some Boston.
Boston?
Some Boston.
Where's your wicked Boston accent, Tom Brady? That's amazing. If you have never seen that video, there's a video. Someone made it, and so I think it was like Funny or Die.
Yeah.
And they made it. It's like Tom Brady in California at some clothes store, and the guy in the store is just like, "Where's your wicked Boston accent?" And he's like, "I was raised here. This is where I'm from
Right.
California."
Raised in California, went to Michigan, University of Michigan.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not going to get too thick of a Boston accent from that guy.
What about you? What have you been jamming out to?
Oh man. So there's been a few things that have come out since our last episode that I've been listening to in pretty good rotation, but I'm going to pick a song this time because you know I typically pick, you know, an album, you know, I'm normally on top of the new releases.
Sure.
And I want to listen to that new stuff, but I'm going to pick a new song that came out recently actually, and it's a new version of a classic song. It's In Cold Blood by Alt J. So we were talking about this a little bit before we started the show.
We were.
I sung a bit of a different Alt J song. You asked, who is that? It's Alt J. But In Cold Blood is a song that I loved when it came out. I love Alt J as a band in general. I'm pretty sure I saw them at Lollapalooza one year, or maybe I'm just imagining that. But
Maybe both.
either way, right? So I love them as a band in general. And the other day, like I said, I've been listening to that new alternative mix, and this came out, and it's a new version. It's a Twin Shadow version. Don't know who Twin Shadow is. Looked him up. Some guy. He does stuff. Dominican American singer, songwriter, and record producer, apparently. So that's him, and it's a new version where they kind of get a little bit distorted and robotic on the chorus, as it's like a new version of it. And the first verse is Pusha T actually doing a verse.
Ooh.
So it's a rap verse in the first verse.
Right.
So it's just a really interesting version of the song. You know, I like the twist on the chorus, the different sound to it. I like the addition of Pusha T. I liked his new album that he came out with recently, Daytona. So that's overall been a song that I keep going back to, you know, over these last few weeks. It's been solid. Catherine hated it. She heard it. She's like, "What is that? Why does it sound like this?" And I appreciated it because I remembered the original song, and I'm like, "Oh, this is a nice twist on it." But she was like, "Nope, change it." But I suggest, if you're a fan of Alt J, if you like the song In Cold Blood, maybe even if you don't like rap, give the new Twin Shadow version of In Cold Blood a shot.
Well, right. I mean, Alt J isn't really they're not a rap band, so.
Oh no, not by a long shot.
Right.
They're an alt indie band. If you've never listened to Alt J before, I can definitely suggest them. I love them.
Good old fellows from Leeds, England.
Are they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got Wikipedia up right in front of me.
Nice.
Yeah. It's interesting. You know, one of the weird things about British bands, and no, I just saw one of these British bands not too long ago. They opened for Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah.
Now I'm just blanking on their name. That's kind of that's pissing me off. But it's funny because like they don't sing. Speaking of accents, they don't really sing in a British accent.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You're like, oh, these guys are cool, and then then the lead singer actually starts talking in between songs. Like, oh my god, you're not from here. You're not from around here.
What is this guy? Dude, that's one of those things that always surprises me. You'd hear a lot of bands, and if you see them live or you watch a live video, you might catch that in between songs. And you're like, whoa, did not expect that person to be British,
right?
Or whatever,
See, you can say the same with some actors too, or actresses.
Yeah, it has just thrown me off that you watch a movie and someone has a really good American accent, or vice versa, a British accent or any accent in general. It's like, oh, that's an American person just pretending. Bravo. I've also heard some like rough accents in acting. No, not great. Like Red Sparrow, it just felt like it was off and on.
Sorry, I'm trying to search for that darn band's name. I've gone down the rabbit hole.
Okay, he's down the rabbit hole. Let me just tell you guys that I watched Red Sparrow. It was a decent movie, but Jennifer Lawrence's Russian accent just seemed like it was there sometimes and not there other times. So that's my takeaway. But either way, yeah, like you can catch it every once in a while in some artist songs. I forgot what song it was. It goes like, "I love you, will you marry me?" or something, and you can tell from like the way he says love, you're from somewhere in Europe or whatever. But there's a lot of times you just can't tell that someone's from somewhere else. It's weird. When people sing, accents just don't translate. It always flabbergasts me.
I find that a lot though with Americans doing British accents aren't always the greatest.
True.
But going the other way is where it really tricks you. Because there's a lot of British actors that basically have to not sound British to get big roles in American television or film, right?
Yeah.
Unless they're like a big baddie, right?
Oh yeah.
Then they have to sound British.
Yeah, you got your classic villains that it's like, oh yeah, the villain is definitely British.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think I'm going to find him.
Are you sure, though?
I mean, I haven't really been looking for him all that closely. It's been really, really shoddy Googling on my part.
Yeah, your Google foo is not strong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not putting a whole lot of effort into it.
But there was an attempt.
There was an attempt. Wasn't greatest. I won't say I'm proud of it.
One of my favorite subreddits. There was an attempt.
There are a lot of good subreddits out there.
There's a lot of good random subreddits.
Especially children falling over. That's probably my favorite.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Not because I want to see children getting hurt or anything, because most of the time they're just fine. Right. Kids are resilient. But it's just fun. Kids fall over in funny ways.
They do. They very well do.
Alt J was definitely at Lollapalooza in 2015, so that's probably when I saw him. Did it.
Let's see. So, is there anything you're really looking forward to, though?
Oh man, it's kind of slow right now. If we're being honest, there's not a lot going on. The closest thing happening that I'm a bit excited for is a mini road trip, I guess you'd say, for a game we have. So
yeah.
we're going up to Door County to play Door County Destroyers.
Way up there, eh?
Way up there. So they actually play in Bailey's Harbor, I think. So it's up there, and me and a couple guys from the team, a couple of the other linemen are gonna go up, and we're gonna stay overnight so that we don't have to drive 3.5 hours on game day, and we don't have to drive back after. So that's gonna be fun. It's always a good time when we carpool together. So there should be some shenanigans, some good stories, the old riffs, whatnot. But that's about it. I don't really have too much else, scheduled coming up in general. Speaking of Lollapalooza, I'm going again this year, but that's not for another few weeks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when is that?
That's 2nd through the 5th. So they used to only do it 3 days. They used to do it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but then for their 25th anniversary, they expanded it to 4 days. So going to that again, taking a few days off work, relaxing, hanging out, seeing a bunch of bands. I'm pretty excited for that, just because one of my favorite things about Lollapalooza is going there and seeing the random people at 1 p.m. The first shows of the day, that they're just small bands that are happy to be there or whatever, just aren't popular at all or you've never heard of. I love going to see just random bands and seeing what they're like, and I've discovered bands that I still like to listen to today from going to see early shows at Lollapalooza. So that's something I'm looking forward to in general. But other than that, it's pretty slow time of the year for me, and that's probably because I got a lot of football going on, so I can't make too many plans.
Yeah. Are you going to Summerfest here? Are you gonna? Is there a certain band you're looking forward to if you are going, or are you just gonna be like you do at Lollapalooza and just see what's there?
I do want to go at some point during this run because pretty sure I missed it entirely last year, but I want to go at some point and probably just wander around, like you said, and see some different bands. I haven't looked up at all who's there, so I have no idea who's playing. So but I'd be perfectly happy, paying to get in and just wander around, having some food and seeing whatever random bands. So
sure. But
yeah, I do want to go because you can't really miss the opportunity to go to one of the biggest music festivals and whatnot. It's so convenient because we're here.
We're right here, yeah.
Yeah. So you might as well. But no, I'm not necessarily looking forward to anyone in particular.
Yeah, same here. Not really. Didn't really see anyone I really cared to see all that much.
Yeah.
The only band might be Greta Van Fleet, who are basically a Led Zeppelin ripoff. But
oh, really?
Yeah, they sound exactly like Led Zeppelin, which I like. So I don't care if they're ripping off them. Nobody else is doing that sound nowadays. But when I first heard one of their songs on the radio, I was like, oh, this is a Led Zeppelin song I've never heard before. I literally thought that. And then I looked it up. I'm like, nope. What? Literally sounds exactly like Robert Plant.
Yeah.
Royal Blood's the name of the band, by the way.
Royal Blood?
Yep.
I feel like I've listened to some stuff by them.
Probably. They were opening for Queens of the Stone Age when I went to see them. But
I have definitely listened to Royal Blood because I recognize their album cover.
Yeah, they got some good stuff. It's crazy because that singer, they're from Britain or from across the pond.
Yes, if you will. Yeah.
So that kind of led into that story we talked about earlier. I was like, oh, I did not know that he was not from America. But it's a two-piece band. It's the front man and a drummer. That's it. And it's
similar
nuts.
To the White Stripes.
Yeah, very similar. Except different from the White Stripes is the front man on Royal Blood plays a bass guitar.
Dude,
so they only have a bass guitar and a drum. And what he can make that bass guitar sound like is pretty awesome.
Slapping the bass, man.
Oh yeah, it's pretty nuts.
You gotta slap a little bass every once in a while.
Just a little bit.
That's awesome. I love. There was a band that I saw one time that their frontman was the bassist, and I just thought that was interesting because that's atypical.
Yeah, right.
In general, but it's cool to see that, or to know that Royal Blood's a 2-piece and that their frontman's the bassist.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I was absolutely dumbfounded when I saw that. I'm like, where are the guitarists?
Excuse me, sir. I think this is a rock show.
I'm sorry. I didn't know you could do that with a bass.
Speaking of, I didn't know you could do that with a bass. There was some EDM artist said, "Oh, there's no way that a person, like any human being, could create the bass line that I created with this stuff."
That was Deadmau5.
Was it Deadmau5?
Yeah, it was Deadmau5.
And then some guy got on YouTube and was just like, "Please shut up," and just like slapped it out, just immediately, just destroyed it. And he's like, "Remember where you get your inspiration. Remember that people have done these things before you and will continue to."
Yeah, I think Deadmau5. I don't want to say congratulated him, but definitely gave him props after that. But yeah, it was kind of a silly thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Sure was.
Yeah, I know my random stuff.
Hell yeah. You know your internet memes, if you will.
I'm a meme lord.
What are you excited about, man? You got anything coming up?
No, nothing really.
Nah, just hanging out.
Yeah, just hanging out, doing the whole summer thing really. That's kind of it.
Summer's nice,
happening.
Man. It's getting warm out again.
It is.
This weekend's gonna be a hot one.
Oh yeah, sure is.
But yeah, I think I want to try and hit Summerfest at some point.
You're gonna have to let me know because I don't really want to do Summerfest alone. So
yeah, we can go. We can go hang out.
We'll go chill.
Little walk around.
Yeah,
Get some bombers.
Get some bombers.
What? They have bombers down there.
Do they really?
Yeah, they have AJ bombers down.
I did not know that.
Down Summerfest grounds. Hell yeah, dude. I love AJ bombers.
Oh, I've gone there. I've gone there recently, a couple times. Well, I mean, they're right by where I work.
Yeah.
But especially with like the World Cup going on, they have the games on there, so I'll just go there for lunch and watch a little bit of the game, whatever game's on.
Who's winning the match?
Who's winning the match? I see Germany is not winning any matches anymore.
Really?
Yeah, the defending champs are out. They didn't even make it past the group stage.
Well, that's
Pretty nuts. Pretty rough, Not really kicking the ball all that well nowadays.
Yeah, you got to get it into the net. That's the primary goal. No pun intended.
I did.
I don't understand. They just make groups. Groups is how they do it. I don't understand how World Cup.
Yeah, so like all the different continents have their own like qualification to get into the World Cup. So you have a certain amount of teams from every continent, essentially, and then they randomly just pool these teams into groups. And there's so many groups, and then the top two in each group at the end of the group stage advances to the knockout round, which is essentially just a single elimination 16-team tournament. And that's really all it is. But yeah, USA did not even qualify for the World Cup. That was like the first time in a long, long time.
That's
like,
rough.
I think like the early 90s, I want to say.
Jeez.
So, yeah.
But we're hosting the next one.
Not the next one. 2026.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
2022 is going to be in Qatar, which has got all these scandals because of slavery.
Because they're forcing people to build all these garbage stadiums and stuff
that will never be used after the games.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah. And it's all Qatar is literally like a desert. So
you're just building all this random stuff in the desert.
Like, so what they're actually switching they're switching the World Cup to being like in the winter for that one, just because of how freaking hot it is in Qatar. Like the whole thing is pretty much a joke. There's a lot of bribery to get the games in the World Cup in Qatar because the FIFA or not FIFA, yeah, it is FIFA, because FIFA is a monopoly.
Monopoly.
Basically, control international football.
Got a stranglehold on football. What does FIFA stand for?
It's French. They're based in France.
Internationale de Football Association.
Yeah.
Nice. Did you know?
Probably.
That so the 1994 World Cup
was in the U.S.
Was in the U.S. Did you also know?
Probably.
That I have a 1994 USA World Cup wallet.
I did not know that.
You did not know that, because that is a useless fact.
Also, it'd be kind of creepy if I did.
It'd be the only way you would know that had you been to seen the wallet laying around, because for some reason I had it out. Maybe I wanted to brag about owning this wallet. Don't know why.
Would you like to see my wallet?
By the way, here's my TV, my computer, my 1994 USA World Cup wallet. Yes, it does have Velcro.
Oh, yes. Fancy. The best quality Velcro for the time.
It's 1994 Velcro. Take it or leave it. Whatever you want. It gets the job done.
It does.
But yeah, Monopolies. Let's get into this main topic.
Let's talk about Monopolies.
Talk about what's going on. So, I thought of kind of talking about this because of a couple big mergers or acquisitions that have happened recently. The most recent one, I guess, getting approved like basically yesterday, maybe 2 days ago. It was Disney. Disney got approval from the DOJ to acquire 21st Century Fox.
Really?
Yes. So they finally got the approval there. It's from what I'm reading, it's not a done deal yet, but the DOJ is not going to block it.
Oh no. Because they don't care about it anymore. They don't care about monopolies. Yeah. Protecting consumers.
Yeah, so like at this point, Disney already owns ESPN.
Oh yeah.
Right. And they own Marvel.
They do. And Star Wars. Which, even though Han Solo movie didn't do all that well,
yeah, Solo
they still made bank because of Marvel.
Right.
I actually haven't seen Han Solo yet, so I need to do that.
I'm honestly willing to go see it a second time.
Honestly, I think, like...
I don't even know if it's in theaters still. I don't know. If they don't do well, they don't last long. Or on the flip side, you get Black Panther that was still in theaters when the DVD came out.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that was impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I want to see Han Solo. Yeah. And I've heard people say it's actually a decent movie. The only issue with that Han Solo movie that I've had is just essentially the timing of it. Like it was just too soon.
Yeah.
To come out with another Star Wars movie.
Yeah, that's
at least
the
for
thing.
me.
That's like
personally.
That's a side effect, I think, of these companies owning so much and being able to, pump out. So like Disney's a powerful company.
Yeah.
And when you own Lucasfilm and Marvel and all that stuff, it's like you can just pump out as much as you want because you've got so much power. You can streamline the process. I think I agree. I think one of the things that hurt came out too soon after The Last Jedi, and that it came out really close to Infinity War.
If they would have just released it in December like they have all the other Star Wars movies recently,
yeah,
it probably would have done awesome.
Probably would have killed. And
because that's what they think Star Wars and December nowadays.
Yeah.
So it's pretty stupid.
It's definitely maybe not the best move.
No, Definitely not.
But acquiring 21st Century Fox, solid move for Disney as a company. You know, it's good for them. You can't, at being Disney, you know, all powerful as they are already, you can't be mad about owning, you know, more content creation and more content distribution companies, right?
Right. I'm not really ever like against. I don't get mad at companies trying to, you know, increase their, you know, their revenue or their stake in the market share.
Right.
Right. Because that's business, right? In a capitalist society, you're trying to make money.
Right. That's the point. Keeps the place going.
Yeah. The issue with monopolies is not necessarily the companies that are, you know, trying to go after it. It's the lack, well, nowadays, the lack of resistance they get for it now.
Yeah. I mean, it honestly, with a switch of regime, if you will, there has been less pushback on things like this. You know, it's been issues. People have been talking about trying to do things like this for years. I know, like AT&T and T-Mobile, you know, wanted to merge a while ago, and people are like, nope, can't do that. It'll create not enough competition, which is the point. That's another big aspect of America and this kind of capitalist thing, is that there should be and there needs to be competition. Right.
That's how capitalism works.
And the problem is that if companies own too much of a pipeline or own too many things, right, it becomes not competitive. It's hard to compete with a company that can coordinate, you know, from production to literally streaming the content that you know, a new show or a new movie or something, right? Like it's a lot harder for someone to piece together the production company, everything else, the actors, all the stuff that you be able to get it going, and then get the infrastructure, get someone to be able to get it to people. You know, it's a lot harder to piece that together than it is to be like, oh, okay, well, I own X, Y, and Z, and so that way I can get all this stuff done.
Right. It makes the barrier to entry too much for any other companies.
Right.
But yeah, and you can take this and look at it at a lot of other places, a lot of different industries, and getting back to kind of the whole you know, World Cup talk. You look at sports in general and our big major sports, you know, in the U.S. and Canada, essentially, is, you know, they're all monopolies as well, right? You look at the teams, you know, say, I'm just going to use like the NFL, for example. You know, you have, you know, 32 teams, and they essentially all have monopolies on their area, is what I'm going to call it, right? So, like, the Packers basically have a monopoly on Wisconsin, right? There really can't be another Wisconsin pro football team that pops up.
Yeah, it just wouldn't happen.
Right. First off, the barrier to entry is just too high because the NFL is $9 billion, probably more nowadays. Because I think that was a long time ago, or many years ago. They're a $9 billion revenue industry. But all these teams are, you know, monopolies themselves. But the thing that the NFL has done and a couple other leagues have done is to make a club like Green Bay, or really, probably Green Bay is not a great example, but maybe a team like the now I can't come up with any examples.
What teams?
There are no teams.
I do the sports ball.
Yeah,
the sports.
I don't know. Maybe like a team like Buffalo. Let's say Buffalo.
Okay.
A team like Buffalo.
The old Bills?
Yeah, the Buffalo Bills. Competing against a team like the New York Giants.
Yeah.
Or the Chicago Bears. The big city teams. Small markets competing with big markets.
Yeah.
One of the things that, you know, these leagues put into place is salary caps, right? To prevent the big markets from being able to just outspend the smaller markets for players.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what you look for in kind of all the other industries that have monopolies, is some things to make something or these companies kind of on a level playing field, right?
Yeah.
And we don't really have that nowadays. We're just getting all these companies kind of merging, but nobody stepping aside and say, hey, this is going a little too far, right? Because at a certain point, and whether or not, big companies won't ever say this, but you get to a certain size and bureaucracy and the corporate just politics and games just become too much, and you kind of stifle innovation.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to compete anymore. You have the market. People are going to buy your products because they essentially have to if they want to consume that, whatever that industry is.
Yeah. It's funny, like it does kind of kill like innovation, right? Like nothing's forcing. That's the great thing about competition is like when there's more companies, you have someone that has, that different aspect to their product. There's something that makes it more convenient or faster, or just better in some way. And the less individual companies you have that are out there competing, the less those big companies have to worry about it, right? Like I don't have to make my product all that much better. People will just use it because they're accustomed to using it, or because, it's one of 3 products out there. Like if you think about wireless carriers, right? Like there's 4 major wireless carriers in the US.
Yep.
And 2 of them are talking about merging right now again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like if you want serious good coverage, like in most places that you are in, most large cities in most areas, you have to go with one of those 3, or those are the ones that are the best. They're going to have the fastest speeds. They're going to have, the best phones or any of that stuff. And it's just there's not all that much room for competition, and then you end up with stuff like AT&T, who on my most recent bill, I don't know if you heard about this.
I've heard about it. I haven't looked at my bill because I have AT&T.
Tripled a stupid admin fee. Tripled. Yeah. They almost tripled an admin fee, like per line.
Yeah.
And they're just going to get away with it in general, right? Like people are mad about it. And they're going to complain about it, but what are they going to do? Is anyone honestly going to switch?
I plan on switching.
Really?
I mean,
is it because of that in general?
No, well, no, I wouldn't say it's because of that in general. I've been looking to switch for a while.
Yeah.
Not necessarily with anything that like AT&T is necessarily done in terms of fees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I want to switch to like Google Fi.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing, right? Is like competition.
Right.
It gives you that separate option. Google Fi, like you said, has those like separate, that different kind of billing and whatnot. That like that's the most attractive thing to me for it. Like the plan that we're on with AT&T now is cool because of the number of people we have and the amount of data we use. Like it's solid. But for like an individual or for a couple people, now like Fi has or Fi, I always forget how it is.
Google Fi.
Fi, great. Figured it out.
You're welcome.
Think like a Fi.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they have those sweet way that the data works for a couple people. It's awesome, and it's cool to see a new company, which is like it's Google, right? So it's not hard for them to get into any market they want to.
Right.
So I mean, they own a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
They
do.
They own or do a lot of things. And that makes them, like a threat for competition. Like Google came out of nowhere and is just like, yeah, we're going to be a wireless carrier. And they're piggybacking off of other people's networks.
Yeah. Like
they're in the
Sprint and T-Mobile.
They're Sprint and T-Mobile together, right? And then plus the mix of like their Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Right. So they do the thing that T-Mobile does where they have that seamless handoff between Wi-Fi and actual network stuff.
Yep.
But like, that's competition. That's
right.
That kind of throws them into the mix, and like we said, it's a there's a huge barrier to entry in things like that, which is unfortunate. But like people, once you can get in, that makes it better. You know, the fact that you're thinking about switching means that AT&T has to do something to make themselves more attractive.
Right. Well, and in this case, it takes a company like Google to, you know, pull this off and be that competition.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, and that's why we kind of went through that huge, you know, Silicon Valley boom, right? With all the startups and everything, because, you know, especially with how technology just kind of rose exponentially, there created openings in making, you know, products better, and you saw a lot of companies, especially you know, brick and mortar stores and stuff, just going out of business because they kind of got complacent and didn't, you know, innovate and didn't kind of go with technology, right? And then you got the guys like Amazon who popped up and just basically took over everything.
Just wrecked house.
Right.
And they're doing a lot.
They
now
they're really freaking huge, right?
They're just Whole Foods they just bought.
Yeah. So they popped up to create competition, and they essentially won, you know, the competition and really created a great choice for consumers, right?
Yeah.
It's so they're a monopoly, but like it's like I can get a lot of stuff pretty darn cheap, right? It's pretty easy. Like, it doesn't really hurt me all that much to buy from them.
Yeah, but I think at the same time, like that is the danger.
It is
of monopolies, right? Because right now, you and a lot of people see, you know, Amazon as, oh, well, it's super convenient. There's so many things with their acquisition of Whole Foods. You know, certain markets are getting Whole Foods discounts now, so it would switch who they're going to grocery shop with and all that stuff. And you know, a few years ago, you never would have thought to yourself that, you know, Amazon is going to make me change where I'm, you know, getting my groceries. You know, so
well, they still haven't really done that for me. I still go to a grocery store.
Well, they don't. The Whole Foods around us don't have. Apparently, I looked it up because I was like, I have Prime. You know, it might be worth getting the discount to go to like Whole Foods instead. But it's not in our area. Yeah. It's only in some markets. But like that idea is like it's dangerous, right? Because the companies merge, companies become bigger, they have a bigger footprint, they own more stuff, and then like they kind of have a stranglehold on some things, and before you know it, it becomes, you know, they raise a price or they do something that because they don't have competition or because they've been the most convenient thing, people are like, well, I guess like this is just how it is because now they've killed that competition in some way. And
competition isn't gone though for them.
Oh yeah, I mean it's not gone, but like with putting these bigger companies together and them controlling more stuff makes it easier for them to end up doing things right that make it not good for the customer in the long run.
Well, yeah, but it's right now they're good for the customer, sorry. And there's still competition out there, right?
Right.
So they can't just go and say just double their prices, raise, you know, they can't just, you know, just increase their admin fee by, you know, triple it, right?
You can't just triple it.
They can't triple it and not, you know, if that happens, then people aren't going to see they're not going to see the convenience of Amazon anymore because people go to Amazon to shop, or they shop on Amazon because, number one, they find a lot of things cheaper there.
Yeah.
Right? So if things aren't cheaper on Amazon anymore, I'm just going to run up to, you know, Best Buy or something and grab whatever I want.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a big thing. And then also, I mean, online, you know, online ordering. But a lot of big places, you know, have online ordering. So it's not really that big of a deal. So Amazon got huge because they're doing things really well, but they're not really all that much of a threat in screwing customers over right now because they can't really, you know, do anything too drastic. Otherwise, they're just going to
there's still enough
gonna
large
lose.
alternative, right? Yeah.
For now, and that's for now. Who
That's
knows
the thing. It's like that's
a
what I'm getting
decade
at
from
is that
now, right?
it's for now, right?
Right.
At some point it could not be like
It could.
exactly for now. Like I wanted laundry detergent, and we've talked about it before. I have Google Homes all over my house, and so I'm like, hey, order me some new laundry detergent, and it's all like linked to Express, which orders it directly from like a Walmart or a Target or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And just said, hey, I found it from this store, and if you buy this much of it, then it's free shipping. And I'm like, I'm gonna need laundry detergent anyways,
Right.
so I just bought it and got it shipped, and so there still are strong alternatives, and again, Google Express being a fairly new person in the market, right? So I get what you're saying. Like there's still competition. I just think
We have to be careful though.
We have to be careful because it could get to a point one day where if stuff becomes too convenient or we let things get too powerful, then they could potentially kill the competition, and then they have the power to jack up an admin fee by 3 times. AT&T suck.
Right. And it's at that point. It's at that point where we as people need to recognize it, and also where that's where our government steps in, or should step in.
Right.
Like a free market, capitalism works to a certain extent, to a certain point. There are certain things, there's some things that just do not work in a free market. Whether you like that idea or not, they just do not. You run into a lot of problems. You run into, AT&T tripling their admin fees.
I'm real salty about it.
Come on and switch to Google Fi with me.
I might.
The only thing that's preventing me right now from switching is I need to get a new phone that actually.
You got to live that Pixel life.
Well, the Pixel 3 is not out yet.
It.
Although I'm going to tell you right now, if the Pixel 3 is $1,000, I'm not buying it. I'm not spending $1,000 on a phone. I'm sorry.
You could not get the $1,000 version.
I know, but that's what I mean. Like I would seriously look into getting a different phone.
You could always get the I don't know if you like big phones or not. But like,
I don't really like
if it was
phones.
If it was an XL versus regular Pixel life, right? Like,
I'm not an XL.
The smaller Pixel is going to be inherently cheaper. Like I think that would probably top out around $1,000. Like I paid a good chunk for mine, but that's because I got the XL and I got the middle tier of storage.
Yeah, I mean, right now I have a Moto phone, and there's Moto options for Google Fi. So if the new Pixel is just too expensive for me, whether it's the XL or the normal size version, I'll probably go with a cheaper Moto phone. Dude,
you could always get like the Pixel 2s when the Pixel 3 comes out, when they kill it. But like, because Pixel 2, it's a solid phone, and they last. Like, I was surprised how long my 6P lasted when I got it. Like, that's a phone that I've had for the longest, and I actually just gave it to Catherine the other day because hers was being trash. But like, getting like a Pixel is one of the few phones that I would suggest getting like a generation old of.
Well, that'll happen when the time comes.
Yeah, we'll see.
Right now, I'm just waiting. It's probably going to happen more in the fall when the Pixel 3 comes out, like October-ish.
Yeah.
So AT&T, you are on notice. You have not a lot of time left.
You have been warned.
You have been warned.
Lower the fee, and Clay's still going to leave because it had nothing to do with the fee anyways.
It really didn't.
There's nothing you can do to keep Clay.
If you want, actually there is.
Okay. They're listening.
The main reason I want to switch to Google Fi is so I'm a single line plan guy, right?
You're a lone wolf.
I'm a lone wolf. I don't really need all that much data either because I'm on Wi-Fi all the time, or a lot of the time. Wi-Fi. So Google Fi, switching to that, cuts my bill in half.
Nice.
Like my current bill. So,
you can't argue with that.
Like, if AT&T wants to keep me, cut my bill in half.
All right.
Not just for like the first 12 months, right?
For forever.
Forever, right?
Do it indefinitely. So after the show, we're gonna have to tweet to AT&T. 1, lower that admin fee. 2,
hashtag lower that fee.
Get it? We'll get it trending. We'll get it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We'll get it going. 2,
I think it's trending already.
Cut Clay's bill in half.
Oh yeah. Hashtag cut Clay's bill.
There you go. Perfect.
Boom.
That's exactly, and we'll get it going. Our fans will definitely retweet. It'll all work out.
It's because we have the best fans.
The best fans.
The best
ever.
fans, the best listeners. We just have nothing. I have nothing bad to say about any of our listeners.
I don't think we ever
because
will.
there is nothing bad about them.
There's nothing bad about them. And
I would be spreading fake news if that was the case.
If anyone were to trash talk our listeners, I'd be there to defend them.
Hashtag fight back.
We're gonna get all the things.
Hashtag all the tags. All the hashtags. I don't know how that works.
All the tags.
All the tags.
Sometimes I hashtag.
Ooh yeah, that's a good one.
Just for a laugh, for a giggle.
Oh yeah, you gotta do that sometimes, you know. Life is too serious. Gotta have some fun. Why
so serious? But yeah, Monopolies, man. There's so many companies out there. Another thing that I thought of when I was thinking of ideas here, and when we were kicking ideas around about Monopolies, was a graphic that I saw a couple years ago. It's just this post that was a bunch of graphics about what companies own what other companies.
Oh yeah, those are always fun to look at.
And it's just, and this one's from like 2014, so it's out of date. But I'm gonna send it to you real quick, and I'll tweet it out after the show. But like, there's all these companies, and basically, no matter what you're buying, high end or low end,
right?
In a lot of places, like you're paying, consumer goods in here. It looks like there's literally 7 companies that at the end of the day, no matter what you're buying, you're buying from them, right?
Yeah. I always found it funny back when I was working for Foot Locker, when we'd get complaints about people saying they're going to buy their shoes because they were pissed off they didn't get the newest release, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go over and buy my stuff from Champ Sports instead. Like, you go do that, buddy.
Cool.
So we own that place.
It's funny
how that works.
People just don't know.
Right. Well, that's why these big companies do that, though, right?
Yeah.
It gives the feeling of competition, when in reality.
Yeah, and it's like companies, like you could go to the toilet paper aisle and you could buy
every single
the lowest terrible toilet paper ever, or you could buy the most expensive toilet paper, the one ply, the single ply. You're a prisoner. You get single ply. That's it. Like, I feel, don't buy single ply. Treat yourself.
Speaking of toilet paper, if you wanna, I'm gonna give you a tip right now, Ryan. If you want to trash talk an opponent,
okay,
call him 10 ply.
10 ply.
Yeah.
Jeez.
You're essentially calling him soft.
Wow.
Yeah.
I may or may not use that.
You definitely should or should not use that.
I might, depending on the opponent and how riled up I want to get, because every once in a while there's a guy, and it's like, I don't want to make this guy all that angry because I don't want to make my job hard.
Right, that's true. Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Gotta get the job done.
Pick your spots.
But yeah, it's like no matter what, you're probably buying your toilet paper from Unilever, right? Mm-hmm. Or like Johnson & Johnson or Procter & Gamble. Like, it doesn't matter which one you choose, your money ends up going to the same place at the end of the day.
Yep.
But yeah, it's interesting. And again, I'm gonna tweet this article out, but it's just so many like banks, like financial, like there's four major like bank members. Like, that's it.
They all got freaking bought out.
Yeah, that's like Disney.
And not bought out, but
bailed out.
Bailed out. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Oh sure. That's
the opposite end of the government trying to help out the industry or the market.
Yeah, it's funny looking at this 2014 like graphic here about what companies own what companies, because you have 2 columns here for like media companies. Disney owns ABC, ESPN, Pixar, Miramax, and Marvel Studios, right?
Yep.
And then in another column is Time Warner. And it's like they own CNN, HBO, Time Warner, and Warner Brothers, right? So like now that, while that company still exists in a way, that logo changes to being AT&T, right? So AT&T owns what's in that Time Warner.
Right.
And it just puts them on 2 of these charts now, right? Like, so now they're like a wireless provider and provider of like other stuff and content creator.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think, doesn't Disney own like Hulu?
I don't know if they completely own Hulu. I think they have a big stake in it, though.
Yeah.
I can't remember if they're majority owner or not.
I believe, like, last time I looked into it, that it was like a majority owner situation. Maybe that was because of the merger that was going to happen.
But they're doing they're creating their own streaming platform, right? So that wouldn't.
But they wouldn't have to.
But they are.
If they own.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I'm saying I don't think they own like a major share or like the majority share in Hulu.
Well, here's what it is though, right? I think you
got it in front of you.
I got it pulled up. Is 21st Century Fox owns 30% of Hulu. So now Disney owns. Oh wait, Walt Disney owns 30%.
Yeah.
And then Walt Disney just bought 21st Century Fox. So like now they own 60% of it. Right? So like that puts them in a position where they may or may not. They could use a lot of Hulu's like infrastructure to like support their streaming, but you might not. You might see stuff like Disney titles moving from, Netflix or whatever over to Hulu.
Their contract with Netflix is ending in 2019, so
right.
So enjoy them on Netflix while you can. All those Disney movies.
Yep. And I'll just keep giving money to both Hulu and Netflix, and
I can't do Hulu.
It'll be okay.
I'm not doing Hulu.
Why? Because there's not enough on there for you?
No, I didn't like how paying for the service you still had ads.
Oh,
I know you can pay extra to get rid of them, but I don't like the idea that it's too close to, cable television for me. Yeah.
And I completely forgot. Like Hulu at some point didn't, like, they had ads, but it was free. Like you always saw everything for free.
Right.
And then
that's when I liked Hulu, and then they switched and I stopped.
Then it's like pay to get rid of ads.
Right.
And now it's like not only
I'll do that.
Pay for the service, but then pay a little bit more to get rid of ads. And like we're paying the get rid of ads version of it, but that's always lame.
Yeah, they're essentially double dipping.
Do things like that. Oh yeah.
We don't like double dippers around here.
No double dippers.
Yeah.
It's just
how dare you.
Party foul?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. There's a lot of companies out here. There's still a lot of companies.
There are.
And there's still a lot of companies that don't own every other company.
There are.
In a lot of markets.
There are. So I guess the moral of this episode, because we're essentially out of time here.
Yeah.
I think the moral of this episode is do not support people who own both Boardwalk and Park Place.
Exactly.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Binary Brothers Podcast. We can't wait for you to tune in next time. But until then, make sure to find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud, and BinaryBrothersPodcast.com.